The Negro Justice League.
Hi, welcome to the Negro Justice League, a Black Nerd podcast, episode 96. I'm your host, Sherry.
It's your boy, Jay.
And today we have a special new guest. We have Misha. Misha, say what's up.
Hi, guys. I'm Misha.
So this is a new Misha. This is not to be confused with Big Mish. This is Misha, not Big Mish. We got another Misha to go along with our 6 or 7 J's we got on this show. We gotta get some people to show some new names. All right. We're gonna hop into the news. First and foremost, rest in peace to the late and great Archie Eversole. Y'all know him as an Atlanta rapper who sang We Ready. He was shot in DeKalb County by his brother, but further details have not yet been released. So rest in peace to Archie. Okay.
Man, late and great. Rest in peace to Archive 81, which was canceled after that super trash first season that Cherry made me watch. That man decided to go to hell, and he's going to be there in purgatory. Yeah, because there ain't going to be no second season. So for anyone who is even remotely interested in it, it is based off of a podcast. You can always go and listen to the podcast if you want. But Archive 81 on Netflix was canceled, and canceled quickly, if I might add, because it was trash. So good.
I mean, they did have season 2 scheduled, and then they canceled it. So it was like, hey, we're going to give it to you, psych. And it did really well.
Netflix does. Yeah. Netflix gives out money, and they'll be like, yeah, as long as it looks like you're going to give us some views, but no.
It was popular. That was why they got season 2. Netflix be canceling stuff to be canceling stuff.
I don't think it was popular, but
it was. Everybody, shut up. I didn't say it was good. I said it was popular. People watched it. I don't know if they liked it.
And then they realized it wasn't good, and they were going to be watching no second season. I don't know.
They canceled Lock and Key, too. I forgot to put that on there.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Yeah. All right. Our next thing in the news is what everybody's talking about, so we have to talk about it, but we weren't going to talk about it, so we have to talk about it. Somebody got slapped, and everybody heard about it. Everybody. So if you don't know who we're talking about, I can't help you. I don't even know what to say. Like, nobody's pressing charges.
Are you really not going to say names? Oh, okay. I was about to say. Are you really not gonna...
Will's. I'm not going to explain what happened, because if you don't know, this ain't the podcast for you. Like, we are a high level podcast. I'm not breaking this shit down. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cuss, but yeah. So there have been a lot of consequences. I mean, Will left the academy, and he's got a 10-year ban from functions. He could win an award. He just can't go pick it up because he can't go to the function.
My quick feeling on it is, I am not faulting Will for making that decision at that time, knowing whatever history that they have. But Chris Rock is definitely better than me, because I don't know. Just like I didn't fault Will for like doing that when someone clearly is like talking bad about your wife and her disease around the millions. I don't know if I, as a black man, could just let myself get pimp slapped like that and not. Like, if I wouldn't have fought, I might have said something out of my mouth. Like, he would have had a reason to then slap me. I
don't like how Will handled it. If I was Jada, I would prefer him to have a conversation after the show. Like, you see him at the after party, pull him to the side, hey, brother, that ain't cool. But they have a longer history, so I don't know. Maybe that's happened already and that wasn't effective. Sometimes you do got to lay hands. I get it. I can't say I ain't never laid hands on somebody. So I get it.
I know you can.
Shut up. Yeah, I've slapped people for less. I'll be honest with you, but I've been delivered. You know, I was young. Will's 50. You grow up. That being said, if I was Chris Rock, and I can say this with confidence, I've discussed this with my mother. Actually, we'd have been throwing down on that stage. Like this just ain't no. I'd have been on his ass. Like you don't hit me and walk off. You don't do that. Because I don't care if Academy Awards or not, I'd have forgot where I was at, and we'd been on that stage.
Listen, that's what I'm saying.
You said that you've hit someone for less, but like, you've hit someone for making a joke? Because that's really what this was. He's at Chris Rock's job was to make jokes about people in the audience, in the front row. That's what all comedians do.
I said Will was out of line. That being said, I've hit somebody for less.
roasting is basically telling jokes on each other, and I've seen fights over roasting. So it's a joke until someone don't take it as a joke. And
it's certain people. It's certain people like Kamysha. I ain't gonna name no names. Kamysha and I have a mutual friend from way back in college that got on everybody's nerves everywhere we went. And that's the person that I hit for less because they had a history of years of working my nerves till one day it was like, I'm gonna hurt you. So I that might have been what was going on with, Will Smith. You don't know what was happening behind the scenes, what's been happening for years and years and decades. At some point, you got to hurt somebody.
You know how I know this was Will Smith out of character for Will Smith, even for himself, was him cussing afterwards.
He don't
Will
do
has
that.
always been very big on not cussing. That's been his thing. So for him to do that and then still cuss, I was like, oh, this was like personal. A breaking moment. Yeah, I blacked out.
It almost looked like he blacked out. Exactly. Like he was on something and he blacked out.
I don't know, on something. I think it was an angry blackout. Like, I've been upset to where somebody has pushed me so much, and then one moment, that second or third push.
But a joke is what made you so upset to black out. That's why I think like there must have been something else involved. There, like whether there was alcohol, whether there's who knows what's going on in his personal life. There could be like prescription stuff. Like I said, who knows? You don't know nothing. But like that type of a blackout over a joke for G.I. Jane, the reality is that G.I. Jane, when that movie came out, she was considered a very hypersexualized, attractive army or military, I don't know which one it was, but like military woman. It wasn't a dig to say, look at your nasty bald-headed wife. Like this was literally, like G.I. Jane was a huge movie. It was the most polite joke he could have made about Jada. Trust all of it. Like the world knows all of Jada's material that has been put out there for us to have. Chris could have had a whole field day with Jada.
He could have said she was auditioning for One Punch Man.
Listen,
we about to get canceled.
Me, anytime I've ever been into any physical situation that wasn't like self-defense, it has always been because someone said something about either a family member or a friend. That's kind of my line. So, like I said, I cannot fault Will after, especially the last 2 years of having to deal with August and people. I'm just more amazed that Chris Rock took that hit and was like, all right, let's continue the show.
We got to move on, Jay.
Moving on to people who need to get slapped. Elon Musk post that he was trying to buy all of Twitter at 54 and change a share.
It's like $43 billion he put up.
Yeah, basically. Which is absurd when you realize that he bought about 15% of the shares of Twitter already. They were going to possibly put him on the board, and he declined after, they said, oh, we're going to do background checks and everything like that, which would be public access. Elon Musk is starting to worry me more and more and more in how he does things. And this is literally the exact same time where there's a huge lawsuit that a judge did say there's going to have to be millions paid out, where basically black employees at a Tesla were talked about like it was the most racist experience I've ever had in my life. And it was a company-wide culture.
He's Lex Luthor. Like him and Bezos are like a combination. All right, we gotta keep going. In somebody be listening to this podcast and we don't know who they are news, Michael B. Jordan and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II are teaming up for a movie, and I'm like beside myself. If they film this movie in Atlanta, y'all, we're gonna have to shut the podcast down because I'm just not coming. I'm going wherever they're at and I'm not coming back. I don't think they're both going to be in the movie. It's called I Help Destroy People, and I forgot what it's about. Honestly, I don't even care. But I think Michael's producing it and Yahya's starring in it. They both have their own production companies. I'm not sure who they haven't cast anybody yet, but they're going to be working together on that, and there's more to come from that later because this is super, super early announcement.
Before I go to my news, I just think it's funny that Michael B. Jordan has gone to each new black boo you've had ever since you said he was cut off.
I have a gift of picking out black men that are it, and I don't know what to do with that gift, but I got it. I can tell you, I can point them out to you. Remember that dude? Remember the dude from Underground Railroad, the light-skinned dude with the eyes? I told you he was fine last year. And he just got a major role in something I just told you about. I don't remember what it was. But I don't know. I be spotting. He keep coming back. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Yeah, I got the gift.
Yeah, Nathan's older brother from Insecure. Speaking of, Anthony Mackie is developing a 20-acre studio in New Orleans. That's amazing, one, because clearly that means he's getting Marvel money. For you to be able to create yourself a 20-acre studio in New Orleans, that's money. Second thing, I guess he really is from New Orleans, because I was absolutely against believing it. But shout out to Anthony Mackie. We need more Black-owned, Black-created everything. So this is awesome.
All right. Next. Thank you, Jay. All right. To hop into the discussion, we are very briefly going to get opinions on the Adam Project, Free Guy, and then we're going to go into our discussion of Bust Down and Bel-Air. The Adam Project and Free Guy, I don't think we want to do spoilers. We're just going to briefly give impressions. Bust Down and Bel-Air, we will discuss in detail, especially Bel-Air. So Adam Project should be at the 10, Free Guy at the 15, Bust Down at the 20, Bel-Air at the 30. So we're going to start with the Adam Project. Kamysha, did you get to see Adam Project?
I did not see Adam Project. I saw a little bit of Free Guy, but not Adam Project. No.
Cool. We didn't tell you we were going to discuss it, and we're not. But we were going to do a podcast on them, and I was in the middle of something. I couldn't do it. And honestly, I don't have enough opinions on those. But I think the Adam Project, for me, it was very obviously one of those Netflix algorithm movies. Netflix has this thing where they're using the data of what people watch, like who watches what, to figure out how to make a movie that everybody wants to see. They did it with like the what's it called? Red Zone?
Red Notice.
Red Notice. They picked the stars and they picked the plots based on what works on an algorithm. And I felt that very heavily in this movie because it had a very deep, emotional, connected type plot, but then it had a bunch of seemingly unconnected action. It was like, it felt like it tried to pull in the parents and then also throw in some stuff for the kids so that the whole family could enjoy this film. And for me, honestly, it didn't work. I cared a lot about the storyline. The storyline was beautiful. It was well written, well acted. And then the action felt like y'all wasted my time. But Jay, I don't know your opinion.
I mean, I loved it. I think I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. Anything he's generally in outside of like one really bad movie, I haven't even been able to watch. I was extremely impressed by the kid who played young Ryan Reynolds, Adam, who is now going to be Percy Jackson. And that's because of how I saw him in the Adam Project. The story was actually really heartfelt in a nice, cheesy but not too cheesy way. Like there was a moment where I was like, Ryan Reynolds can actually act when he wants to. The action definitely wasn't needed, so I can definitely see why you said the Netflix algorithm. But I think Ryan Reynolds is at that point where like he does this for fun. Like this is him living out his I'm a big kid, so anytime he's able to play with toys, and this is what I saw. But I was pleasantly surprised. I thought I was not gonna like it.
All right. Yeah, I agree that the heartfelt storyline moments were my favorite. I think, like you said, Ryan Reynolds can almost do no wrong at this point when he's given free reign. Also, what's your boy Hulk? What's Hulk's name?
Mark Ruffalo
was delightful as always. He's always just he has a pleasantness about him that I enjoy watching him. And the little boy was awesome. And I do look forward to seeing him in Percy. I forgot to put that in the news. I'm just happy Percy Jackson is not going to be 25 trying to play, 16. I'm glad that they actually have a child. So hopefully this goes in the right direction. But honestly, we still got a little bit more time and I don't have much more to say about this movie. And I can't even, who was the girlfriend? Zoe. I didn't like that. She didn't do nothing for me in this movie. I almost forgot she was in it.
The two or three issues I did have with the movie, unfortunately, somehow involved all the women in it. I wasn't a huge fan of Zoe being it, and that's definitely a Netflix algorithm because she's the it girl at this point.
Especially when you need somebody to be with a white man, we got to get Zoe.
Ambiguous, yeah. Jennifer Garner,
I forgot was in it.
Cool that she was in it for the whole Mark Ruffalo thing and that, but I don't know. She felt like it could have been more for her. And the main villain, who was, I forgot her name, but not a spoiler, but spoiler, they'd had some things with, past and future her, and the CGI for it was not great. But other than that, like I said, I liked it.
I think the parts that I really liked, but the rest of it I didn't need. And I felt like you're targeting each family member movie. One at a time. Here's some stuff for the mom. Here's some stuff for the dad. Here's for the kids. And I'm just like,
it's really obvious to tell when movies are made with social media in mind, because that's what made me feel like the whole Jennifer and Mark Ruffalo thing was such a big deal, because they were able to use it on social media and their old movie and all of that.
And then we put some Avengers in there and like a kid.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Free Guy. I have not seen Free Guy, so Jay will just give your brief impression. And don't spoil it, please. So I do want to see Free Guy. I was really excited when I saw the previews. If it weren't for COVID, this is a movie I would have seen in the theater. And because I didn't see it in the theater, it kind of got pushed to the back burner. And then like my son went and watched it on his own. And so I had really no motivation to go watch it. So it got pushed to the back of the I need to watch this list. But it is still something I want to see.
I love Free Guy. I think I've seen it 3 times at this point. It's one of those movies where you can absolutely watch it and pick up new things. It reminds me of 21 Jump Street, like the remakes, how no one expected them to be that funny or that good. And that was the same thing here. Again, Ryan Reynolds, you give him a sandbox of things he's able to do, and this was one of those projects where he wanted this to happen, just like with Deadpool. So you can tell when he's actively going for something. Little Ray in it was surprisingly well done. I liked the role he played, and I also liked the support he gave. I really, even the only issue I have with it is Tahiti. His character as like the bad guy boss. It was a little bit too on the nose sometimes, but I loved it. I would have loved seeing it in theaters, actually.
Misha, you did see it, Free Guy, right?
I saw kind of like Mason was watching it, and I was in the background, and I agree. Like, it is really funny, and it's something that I definitely would have wished to see it in theaters as well. Like, just the way the whole like cinematography of it. If you were watching it on a big screen, like, it would have captivated you. It would have been even great. Like, it looks like, let's say you mute it, it just looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And as someone who's a video game person and geek and a nerd, I love how they were able to make that story work. Because that's a very hard story to make work, and they made it work in a way where clearly it was so popular, like it only took a week for them to announce there was going to be a Free Guy 2, but it really did work.
And to add on to that, it worked so well that someone like me who had no idea it stemmed from a video game was still completely like following it and like, wow, this is great. This is pretty good.
Wasn't Ready Player 2 supposed to be a thing?
Yeah. Ready Player 2 was supposed to be a thing. It might still be a thing, but, the movie wasn't as critically loved as they were hoping for it to be a Steven Spielberg movie.
Okay. As much as I enjoyed that movie,
Ready Player 1 could have been better done.
The reason I want to see Free Guy is because I really liked Ready Player 1. Like, I really enjoyed that movie, and that was what made me want to see this one. And then it just reminded me that I haven't seen a sequel.
Yeah.
All right. We're slightly early, but I think we can go ahead on. Bust Down. I don't know why I suggested this. Like, I think I don't know what I was doing and how this came across my scope. I think I was on Twitter or something and saw a commercial for Bust Down. And I was familiar with Sam J from like Netflix stand up. I was familiar with the light skinned dude whose name I don't know from Insecure. And then the one dude from Saturday Night Live. I should look their names up. But I'm not I 5 minutes in, I was like, what is this? It was one of them shows where you got to kick the kids out the room because it is not family friendly in the least bit
at all.
I mean, it's rough. Like, it's so vulgar at times. I'm like, what am I doing even watching this? But
Just real quick, all of the characters' names are their names. So
Yeah, that don't help.
As if.
That don't help. I forgot about that, and I still don't know their names because it doesn't matter.
Sam, Langston, Jack, and Chris.
I knew one of them was a Chris, and Langston act like a Langston. I can guess which one that is. So the movie was supposed to be about some black people working in a casino, but I think we see the casino in one episode and never again, and only like the back room.
No, it's almost in.
Yeah,
if there's only
the
6,
casino.
you see, there's 6 episodes, then at least 3.
Hell no.
Yeah, you see the casino for sure.
Yeah.
I
It
see
just
them
looks
in
so run down.
Is that the casino from Ozark? You know what I'm talking about? The boat?
Yeah,
It looks like
it. It has that same look of like someone should pay for renovations.
Yeah.
it's buzzed down.
Yeah, basically,
It's
yeah,
buzzed down.
it is
Yeah.
buzzed down.
That is
I
funny.
don't
Shout
honestly.
out.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say at first I didn't understand why everything looked so bust down until I realized this was based in Gary, Indiana, and everything made sense to me.
Yeah, I got some friends from Gary, and it lines up.
Oh, doesn't it?
Okay.
Is this a Kenya Burris thing? Is he involved? It feels like him.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
so.
You know what I'm saying though? Like it's
But
got
it
his
does
vibe.
feel like him.
Okay, so I don't know where to
corniness
start
of it.
with discussing this show. I will say that the vulgarity turns me off probably every 5 minutes in this show. But in between those moments, there's some jokes that are so funny, like my family can hear me laughing in my room. I think my favorite episode is the picnic episode, I think.
The cookout.
Yeah, where Langston is basically upset about being discriminated against for his light-skinnedness. And those
He makes it
jokes
be like,
sent me. Because you know I have strong feelings about colorism and how like sometimes people be acting a certain type of way towards light-skinned folks and nobody talks about that. And so the fact that they did a whole episode on it had me weak because it was hilarious.
Yeah. I wish that episode specifically I would have been able to watch with other black folks because that would have been a discussed episode because it was hilarious.
Yeah, we should have
'Cause
streamed that. We should have
That
put it in the
was-
group.
Listen, every time you heard that little sad like music, he was called light skin, and then he tried to become extra black. Dying.
Yeah, and there was one joke, I think the funniest joke I've heard this year. And it's so bad I don't want to repeat it, but it was basically about Fantasia rolling over in her grave. And it was a literacy joke. And it was basically, he said, you implying that black people can't read, Fantasia will roll over her grave. And I screamed because knowing that Fantasia ain't dead, I think that was the funniest thing I've seen on TV in a long time.
Before that episode that was Langston centric, I didn't know if I was liking his character.
I can't stand
I felt
Langston.
like he was being played a little bit too much, like it was a little bit too much. But the way he went, like when he went off on the dude named Friday and called him a zombie and started cussing out and needing to be dragged off.
That was
It
hilarious.
hilarious.
I think if
It's
Langston stopped talking in that whiny voice, I could tolerate him. It's the
Yeah.
voice that makes me want to scream.
You can tell it takes time for them to get into their characters without playing their characters.
Yeah.
Other than the guy who did Chris, which I was never gonna like because that's how he acts in
On
almost
Saturday Night Live.
everything. Yeah.
He's like, what's his name? And the thing I was going to say is vulgar. What's his name from like Tropic Thunder? You know who I'm talking about.
Brandon T. Jackson.
Yes. He gave me him, but worse.
Here's the funny thing: they had a joke about Brandon T. Jackson in Bust Down.
I didn't finish it. I'm going to be honest with you.
It was in the first 2 episodes.
It was only 6 episodes. And I think I watched 4 because I was just like, I can't do no more of this. I stopped at the
really
cookout.
funny one is the one that you liked. Yeah, that was,
And I was happy.
think that the show actually was not that great except for that episode. And that
Really?
episode had like gem jokes in it, but for the most part, like I tried watching this series 4 separate times. I tried with my man. I tried with my sister. I tried like I was like, okay. if
Oh,
we
she
do
said
that-
we're gonna do a demographic.
yeah, we're gonna do this together. And then like it was like there'd be one joke and we'd be dying, and then it's like stale joke, miss the mark, miss the mark, miss the mark. Episode's done, and it's like okay, next, let's try the next one. Then here comes the cookout, and the cookout was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
I think they just need to tone down Chris. Chris's nastiness is a little too much. Although the homeless episode is hilarious. Some of the homeless jokes were good. Like, but he needs to. So I did watch that episode. That was after the cookout.
Yeah.
That was after the cookout. Yeah.
So you watched 80%?
Yes.
Look at you.
So I know that's a beat. They need to tone down some of his vulgarity. They need to tone down Langston's whiny voice, and they need to give Sam J something to do because she just existing on the show right now.
I feel like she's being, and obviously with her being one of the main creator, I feel like they make this where she's clearly the Seinfeld or the Larry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like this is her show. So I feel like she does get a lot because the next episode after the homeless one is a church one, and it's heavily centered on her.
So I didn't get that.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say I felt like the show actually was almost in her mind, like her perspective from it.
Yeah, every single episode, other than even the Langston one, was based on her Sam Jammer burgers and talking spoilers about her having a side piece. I want to talk real quick about the vulgarity. The vulgarity from Chris and everything made me kind of iffy, but I was like, if they're acting like these are people who live in Gary, Indiana, I would understand the cursing. I didn't know how I felt about how other people other than black people were able to say the N-word so freely.
And the fact that the joke that I thought was so funny came from a white dude bothered me. Like,
Yeah.
I forgot what the joke was, but it was hilarious. It was something about he called him some type of house slave, which was hilarious. But I laughed at it before I realized it came from a white dude. I thought it just would have came from, if he should have came from like a dark skinned person and we could have played off the colorism, that would have been hilarious. The fact that it was a white person was like, why would you even say that? Like, you way out of line. So
that's why he said it, because that's what
I know, because now he's mad.
Was like, why? Yeah, that's exactly why.
But then nobody did anything about it.
That's what pissed me off. I was like, why?
Everybody thought it was cool.
He was acting light skinned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that dude ain't had no right to tell him that. So it was. I understand the complexity of it, but it also is offensive. I don't know.
I think that's the point. Is they're trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
I feel like the only reason I was okay with it at the end is because at the end of the show of that episode, they show why he ended up being shot. And I was like, well, you deserved it. You got hit twice.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He shot himself in the mirror, didn't he?
After trying to say the N-word in the mirror and try to act gangster, I was like, well,
the fact that he got in a fight with a colostomy bag and it bust open and somebody said, how you get doo-doo out of wood? Oh
my God.
That was
hilarious.
Peak. That was the peak of the season for me.
It was.
Right.
Shout out to Bank Teller from Insecure being the girlfriend. It took me 2.5, almost 3 episodes.
Bruh, I knew I knew her. I knew her, and I didn't click. Shout out to Issa Rae for putting on 2 of the cast members. Because Langston was Molly's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then she found out he dabbled.
Yeah, it's a spectrum.
Hey, we out here. But Langston, he is firm in his.
Yeah. let me give my definite biggest negative, I think, on the show. And it has to do with the Jack character.
Who is Jack?
Character. Jack is the one who is Lakeith Stanfield light in this show. He is the weird, tall, lanky.
He was giving me somebody that's in NJL, but I ain't gonna name his name. In my mind, he's we got a tall, lanky, dread-headed member.
No, don't do him like that. Don't do him like that. Listen, don't do that man like that. That is wrong. But I get in sitcom shows, there's always the archetype of that one random weird character. I like to call him the Kramer. But the way he was played was so left field. You could tell someone saw how Lakeith played his character in Atlanta and just took the weird.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, I could hear that.
And my worry is, because I do want to see more seasons, is when you have a character who's like that off and weird in season 1, they only get more into that later on. So, and the boy's barely got a brain. Like, he is barely holding on.
He doesn't have to be dumb. I don't know why he's dumb. All right, before we got to wrap up. Before we wrap up, Freddie Gibbs is in there a little bit. We know Freddie Gibbs I know Freddie Gibbs as a rapper, not necessarily as an actor, but he's been popping up on every show on TV this year. He was my favorite. Like I like a good pimp character. Basically, I relate to that. He was my number one.
Relate to the pimp.
I do. I relate to the pimps. It wasn't enough of him for me. I would have liked to see more. Oh, and I want to say the first episode, the subject matter didn't do nothing for me. Like the basically assault. That just I was almost quit this show because I just couldn't get with that.
Exactly what I was about to say. The first episode almost made me text you and say, "Oh, why are we doing this?"
Yeah, the first episode is definitely the weakest. Yeah. And I think that's just pilot. They were all trying to figure out who their characters were. But the only one who was actually good in it to me was Freddie Gibbs.
Mm-hmm. He was the reason I said, let me watch another episode. And we ain't seeing him no more. Or barely.
He's in all the episodes where they're in the casino. So I'm hoping again for a second season.
But remember, Trey didn't see the casino very much. So that's why she
I never saw the casino. I saw Freddie Gibbs 2 times. Yeah, all right. So I think I don't think they're going to get a second season, but if they do get a second season, it's just streaming though. Streaming seems to be more liberal with continuation of seasons than like network television.
Peacock, so
that's what I'm saying. Peacock they should, if they get a second season, I think it'll be better. I think they can look at it, see where their bag is, and improve. I think, hopefully. I don't know.
What would you mark this? ABC.
Yeah, that was our next thing. We about to do. Kamysha, you go ahead. You go first.
Go ahead, girl.
A through F, girl.
Oh, no. Straight up C-.
Ooh.
C-.
C-. The good jokes gave you the C, but the rest of it minus.
I ain't even gonna fault her for that. Jay, what you thinking?
Listen, man. I'm gonna give it a B, a solid B. Yeah. Listen, we don't have enough black things right now, and that's always going to give you an extra grade for me. I had moments where I felt like I was about to cry. It was so funny. The first episode is the weakest, but I got through all the rest of them, and after a while, I was like, yeah, I could watch a season of this. Definitely. I was like, I want to see a season 2. So it gets a B for me. Its weak parts, I'm giving to the fact that it's brand new. I'm pretty sure for everyone on this is a big deal for them to create something. It's on Peacock, so I'm giving it some leeway.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a C+. If it wasn't black, I wouldn't even watch it. The fact that the cast and writers and stuff are black, I'm like, it relates to me a little bit, and I can it makes it tolerable. The plus is because some stuff is funny. But it's a C show. It ain't even a C show. It's thrown together.
What I will say is I needed to not try to be Atlanta light, because that's very much what I get from it. That someone saw what Atlanta was done. It's like, let's do this for Gary, Indiana. Yeah. I needed to find its voice, stop making some of these characters so characteristic, and I think it'll really improve. But I enjoyed it.
I will say that I'm currently watching Atlanta, and it is excelling. Like season 3 is hitting it out the park. But we will review that on a later show when the season wraps up. All right, Bel-Air. Jay didn't watch Bel-Air. Jay, before we start,
what?
Jay, why didn't you watch Bel-Air?
One, because I was never a Fresh Prince fan. I never.
Okay, that's fair.
I've watched it because how could you not, as a black person and grew up as a kid in those times? But I was never a Fresh Prince fan. I never cared about it. I'm not a huge Will fan in that matter. So the nostalgia factor of this is if I didn't want to watch the original, which I'm sure is better, I am not giving my time. And I was actively against.
I hear you.
Watching Bella.
I, on the other hand, watch Fresh Prince every week, whatever day of the week it came out.
Like she wants to fight me right now because I said that.
Yeah, I watched it every week when it came out, and then when it canceled, I was depressed, and I watched it every day because the reruns were on. So I was a fan. But we're going to go through this, Misha. Yeah. We're going to go through this really quickly as we can because we're going to go character by character, and there are a lot of characters. Okay. So we'll try to talk about them briefly and move on to the next set. So we're going to do 2 by 2. First set of characters I want to talk about is Will, played by Jabari Banks, and Carlton, played by Ali Shalotin. That boy looked like an Ali too. Ali is a Carlton name. Like they got the right one. I want to say that Will is okay. He's tall, light skinned. He likes his shoes. He dresses like Will. He's really obnoxious, which as a kid I didn't get that, but as an adult I do understand that Will was obnoxious. I think he's just acceptable. I don't have a lot of opinion. I don't know. He's just okay. Like the show kind of happens around him. I don't have strong opinions about Will.
Are you gonna say Carlton also, or
I'm going to ask you? I was taking a pause so you could say how you felt about Will, and then I was going to go to Carlton.
Can I say something about Will?
Yeah.
Well, how?
I
You
feel
didn't see the show.
because I still, black people don't let you not like at least see clips and stuff. The Will character, Jabari Banks. I feel like Will Smith should have an issue about who he's playing. Like, if Will Smith should have been able to, like, oh nah, you got to find a different Will
I
because
thought
this
he
is
picked
supposed.
him.
Will Smith
Really?
picked him. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You didn't even watch the show. You didn't even.
I think he's okay. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's super exceptional, but I don't think he's bad.
He's a kid. He's a kid. So the show's obviously gonna grow, right? That's the point. Fresh Prince grew. You want when Will stepped on the scene, Fresh Prince season 1, episode 1, he wasn't the same Will that left the building for when Fresh Prince ended. So I think that with this Jabari, they wanted you to feel that. They wanted you to be like, okay, he is young, he is a teenager. Because let me tell you, when I watch that, all I see is my baby brother. I'm like, oh man, you pull that generation so much. When he am I allowed to do spoilers?
Yeah.
When he hollered at Uncle Phil and he like raised his voice over him, I was like, oh my God, you're a young millennial. Look at you talking to your dad like that, like your uncle like that. I would have got punched and knocked out. But you, sure, go ahead. That's fine. I think he embraced the generation very well.
I think that the original Will Smith was grown man when he was playing a high school character, and I don't think it ever really came across that Will and Carlton were supposed to be in high school. It was like they were in pre-college and then they went to college and they were never kids. So I think, we do get kids. Carlton, Lord have mercy. I almost quit this show over Carlton. The first 2 or 3 episodes, he's basically a murderous crackhead. Like
what?
They took Carlton way too far, and I almost quit the show, but they reeled him in after about episode 3 or 4. I was really upset. Like Carlton, spoiler, is on coke. And I thought that was really pushing it far, but then I realized the other Carlton did speed once.
And the only reason they did speed was because you couldn't have no kid on, national television doing coke.
He wasn't supposed to. The only reason he did anything is because it was in the Just Say No era, and they were trying to teach us black kids not to do drugs, even though they're putting them into the community directly.
They went too far with Carlton character for a black person. For this generation now, pills are killing them. Like there's so many people who are dying from these pill overdoses and stuff. And he's snorting cocaine and Xanax, which that's to show how much he's gone.
Oh, you live
of Xanax. So to me
and Carlton could hang.
I'm saying
really
for the high school black kid, yeah, you went way too far. That's not part of our community.
But he wasn't.
Was a white boy.
That was kind of the point.
He was hanging. That was the point. Is he hung out with all the rich white boys, and that's what they do. Like if you go to that age group, they're doing all that nonsense.
Listen, I don't want to. Bel-Air.
We're not gonna brush over the fact that he damn near killed Will in like the second episode. Like, I just think that was excessive.
He's crazy.
That was excessive to me. I think that was they overdid it with the let's make this dramatic and hook people in the first 2 episodes. All right, but we gotta move on. Philip Banks is played by Adrian Holmes, and Jeffrey is played by Jimmy Akingbola. Uncle Phil is a whole different dude now. Like it is not just because he's dark skinned. Like people felt the way because he don't look nothing like what's his name, but James Avery. He's younger. He's more handsome. He's he's smoother.
He's
I guess
in his career.
Yeah, he's early on in his career. I was not crazy about him because he didn't have any nurturing. I didn't get any nurture from him. And Uncle Phil was a very nurturing for a father. And that was one of the strengths of the original show, was that you had a strong black man who had a great career, great educated, and he was tough, but he still loved the boys. Well, he loved everybody, but he showed Will and Carlton a lot of love. Like that was his strongest moments. And I didn't get any of that from this Uncle Phil.
Oh, I disagree. I think Uncle Phil was a great ad. He was sexy. He was well spoken. He was a great compliment to Aunt Viv, and actually, he was very tough on the idea of Will at first. But then by the end of the show, you get that nurturingness of it. Like you get clearly he loves like Will. He's the main character.
The one thing I did like about him is when he pulled up on Aunt Viv. Aunt Viv was like, she was trying to slide, like she was trying to get her little side piece. She was acting out. And he drove to wherever she was at and literally pulled up like, hey, somebody trying to hit on my wife. What's up? She didn't like it, but I liked it. Like, I like that energy. Too. That's what you do. Like, go get your wife. Your wife is straight. Go get her. Bring her back.
100%. Yeah.
Jeffrey, Jimmy Akimbola. They basically tried to turn Jeffrey into Alfred. Like he's some type of like higher. I'm not sure what he does because he's not a butler. Like he's Alfred in the sense that you never see Alfred like with the broom. It's like that.
Correct.
Also, he's at first I didn't like
security.
Yeah,
exactly.
He gets more than that. He gets things done
too. Yeah.
He makes stuff happen, make people disappear if they need to disappear.
And they need to handle the business.
But initially, I was concerned because I couldn't place his accent and it was working my nerves because he would go in and out of British, Nigerian, and Jamaican. Like he would go like in a triangle around the slave trade and basically have all these, he was triangular trade in that accent. At first, I didn't like that. But after a while, I kind of liked it because it gave him more mystery. Like, bro, are you a British butler? Are you African? Did you come from Jamaica though? Like, you can't place the way he talks. And I hated it at first, but then after a while, I was like, I kind of like this ambiguous global Negro.
Women do like a mystery.
I see what you're saying there. I got the vibe that they were trying to say like he's from the gutter of the UK because like that's where
But then he said he was Jamaican.
But like,
you can be Jamaican from the UK.
In the UK,
but the actor is Nigerian.
But that's where.
So it wasn't a character concern. It was just like, who is this dude? Like he got to pick somewhere to be. He got to pick who he is. Because our original Jeffrey was very British,
sexy, so he was drawing you in. Cherry was just like, oh, who is this?
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Aunt Viv was played by Cassandra Freeman. I think this is my number 2 Aunt Viv. We've had 3 Aunt Vivs. The original show had 2. This one is the 3rd Aunt Viv. I think she's not the original, but she's better than the second one. She has the voice. Yeah. Like you can tell that they tried to match the tone of Aunt Viv. She talks just like an Aunt Viv. She's beautiful. One thing that I don't like, and y'all might knock me for this, they changed her career. She was like the original Aunt Viv she taught
a dancer.
Yeah, but she was a teacher too. She taught like history or something.
She was like a professor or something.
Yeah,
like that.
She was well educated. This one is a artist, and she teaches art. I don't necessarily like that they moved her away from the books into art. I don't like Aunt Vivian the artist. I'd rather have Aunt Vivian. But the caveat is she's about to start teaching art, so maybe they're taking her back into academia. I don't know.
Not from a character perspective, but from a show perspective, I like that she's an artist because if you notice, every scene you see beautiful Afrocentric pieces of art in the background. So like you'll see the 2 characters having a discussion and then just behind you're looking at something that on so many different shows that we're seeing nowadays, you would never see a piece of art that is representing a Black artist, because obviously the actress is the one painting the pieces, but B, actually you're seeing people that look like us on these paintings and these sculptures and these things. That part of it, I do like that they made her an artist because they could have drawn in on that. But I agree with you. I wish they would have had her a part of academia. So that way she still would have been prestigious in that way. You know?
So you have a lawyer and a professor as the parents, like something like that.
Exactly. But I agree with you completely. This actress must have been watching the original Aunt Viv a million times to have the cadence in her voice match it. Even just the body language when she's entering a room and stuff. I'm like, you had to have just continuously just watched her over and over again because you are channeling original Aunt Viv.
Very quickly, her sister Vi, is that short for Viola? I don't know. She's played by April Parker Jones. That's Will's mama. She's in this show a little more than original Will's mama was in the original show. I like that they incorporated her more because she did send her child over here and she should have some type of communication with the family. Yes. I think they picked a good actress that looks like that boy. Like the boy that plays Will to me looks like the type of boy that looks like his mama. if that makes sense. I don't know if you ever looked at a boy and be like, you look like your mama, don't you? She looks like the mama that should look like. I think she's okay. But I'm going to move on because I don't want to waste time with her. My favorite two characters, Hillary and Jazz. Hillary is played by Coco Jones. Jazz is played by Jordan L. Jones, which is kind of gross. I don't think they're related. I think they're just hoping to both happen to be Jones. Hillary was not a character that I cared about in the original show, but on this show, she's my favorite character. Like at this point, I'm only watching this show for Hillary. She's gorgeous. She's smart. She's getting her own career together. She's talented. She's supportive of Ashley. I love Hillary. Like, I love Hillary. I don't have anything bad to say about her.
So she's not the ditzy.
No. She's not even ditzy. She's like bougie. She's still bougie. Mm-hmm. She's still very cute. She still wear her little mini skirts, but she's not dumb. And she on top of things.
You could tell she's the daughter of Viv.
Yeah. And they have their friction because they have some similarities. Jazz. So, Jay, do you remember when we reviewed Black Panther? No, before we reviewed Black Panther, when Chadwick Boseman was cast as Black Panther, I had the argument that although I love him and he's an amazing actor, that he wasn't attractive enough physically to play Black Panther, because I argued that physical attractiveness is an aspect of a character and the actor should match that if that happens to play into the character's role as it does in Black Panther. Do you remember that conversation? I
do, because you bring it up almost every other episode.
Well, I'm bringing it up today. Jazz. They made Jazz real cute, which to me changes who Jazz is, which isn't bad, but I wanted to point that out as an example of what I was talking about. The original Jazz.
So what you're saying is Jazzy Jeff is an ugly dude.
No, Jazzy Jeff is a regular looking dude. He's just average, regular dude. He can come to the house, you'd be like, oh, there go Jazz, and you go about your business. Like, you don't nobody care. That's why he was pressed on Hillary, and Hillary never gave him the time of day because he was just regular, right? Well, that's one of the reasons. This Jazz has the same vibe as the original Jazz, but he's cute. And so it changes his dynamic with Hillary. And so Hillary and Jazz...
He's cute and he owns his own business. Like, there's so much more.
Oh, so he's successful too.
Yeah.
He got a little shop.
He owns his own record shop. So, but still, first Jazz was getting thrown out of a house. This Jazz, he's like, yo, I got my own shit. I don't need Hillary Banks.
So Hillary and Jazz are a thing, which was never happened before. It happened now. It's okay. It's cute. I like them. They're my two favorite characters.
On a side note, how do you feel about that? How they're putting Hillary and Jazz together, and then how Lisa is in season 1. Like, Lisa.
We're gonna get to Lisa in a second, sis.
Oh God, sorry. I don't like how they're fast forwarding all this stuff. I'm like, why can't we watch the build of Hillary and Jazz? Why can't we watch the build instead?
I think Hillary and Jazz are gonna have to burn out because Hillary probably gonna have to find a Trevor. So I think Hillary has and Jazz are happening now. But also, it's weird because Jazz is older than Will. Like, Will's in high school and Jazz got his own business, but they supposed to be best friends. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if
they're supposed to be best friends yet in the show. I think it's gonna build to the point where they're best friends. But right now, I think he's just his only friend in California.
Yeah, which is as an adult with a business, I don't hang out with high school kids. So
fair, very fair. Yeah, very fair.
Ashley and Lisa are our last two. Ashley's played by Kira Akbar and Lisa by Simone Joy Jones. Ashley is very cute, as Ashley's always supposed to be, but this one's a little more mature than original Ashley. She's like not just mature, she a little fast. Like she's sneaking out the house and chasing behind. She's also into girls. She got a crush on a little girl and she snuck out the house and whatever, which I don't necessarily like a fast Ashley. And I know that's a controversial opinion. I like my Ashley like the little girl, like the baby. Let the teenagers do they tail chasing and let her be the baby for at least a little bit. But we're not getting that.
How old are we supposed to see Ashley as?
I think she's in middle school.
Yeah, okay.
I think she should have been younger. I thought she should have been like elementary school at like a little girl.
Oh, really?
But she was never that young compared to the other ones. She was always a few years younger, but not.
But she wasn't she wasn't doing all that till later. Like, she had a crush on Tevin Campbell in the later seasons, but initially she was very small and she was very much a child.
And again, this is from someone who didn't watch the show, but I remember her being like a freshman or something when Will and Carl were like seniors. So
that was at the end.
No, that was at the end. I'm pretty sure they were already in college. When she was in high school.
Oh,
they were all upset that she wanted to date some guy and whatnot.
And that happened in several seasons later. Originally, Ashton was a kid.
They were very much like the almost young uncles to act. Like there is a huge age. Cherry's right. There was a huge age gap depicted in the original, but the actor again was much older than I think the character they were trying to show in the original. So that's why for the casual watcher, you think, oh no, isn't Ashley supposed to be like in middle school or even freshman in high school? Because the actress was so much older than her character.
So yeah, my point was, I like that girl. She's cute, but I want a baby Ashley. I'm not ready for Ashley to be trying to find a mate yet. Like, dang.
But wasn't this whole show kind of based on how everything is just, it's almost like grimdark. Like everything is based on drama. So it kind of makes sense that one, they make the younger one a lesbian or at least bisexual because statistically one of them's got to be. You can't just act
I'm
like all
vote for
of
Carlton.
them.
Shoot.
I mean, Carlton might get it in the end because there was considerations about him, so that could be something.
Well, let me tell you, let's do the next character because you do a lot of speculating for somebody to watch the show. Lisa, for whatever reason, which I agree with Kamysha, is in the first episode. Lisa is here. She's played by Simone Joy Jones. That was Nia Long back in the day, wasn't it?
Yes.
Lisa is Carlton's ex-girlfriend. And Will shows up from Philly and just starts hitting on her immediately, which is why Carlton tried to kill him. In Carlton's defense, what the hell? Like, you don't do that. That's so disrespectful. One. And two, ew.
Cousin.
That's your cousin. And you knew, and you don't know this girl. I don't like the casting for Lisa. Everybody's excited that she's a bigger boned girl, which I don't really care neither here nor there. To me, she looks older than she's supposed to be. Which I don't like. And I don't like her here now. I feel like Lisa should come along when they're like college age. I don't know why she's here. I don't like nothing she got going on. I feel like she's extra.
She's an irrelevant character.
We didn't need her.
It's only because they want to try to make the connection, spoiler, for like her dad. But I think Lisa is so irrelevant. And I didn't realize there's all this crowd. Because I was going to say, if we're going to talk about Chadwick Boseman and how attractiveness plays into the role, I find Lisa very regular. And if we go back in time, Nia Long was considered one of the most gorgeous women in Hollywood at that point. So to put a mad regular looking chick as Lisa, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Lisa.
I can't say I disagree. And I hate that my opinions on Lisa and Ashley make me feel guilty, but they are what they are. Like, I don't know what to say about that.
Regular.
She is regular.
And then,
yeah,
she's not regular, and she's going to the school in Bel-Air, like the same school as Carlton, but that doesn't make any sense either. Like, her dad's a cop. How are you the same school as Carlton, even to begin with?
She said she had a scholarship or something.
Oh, okay.
That's why she's swimming. Remember, she's on a swim team. Which that too, like, okay, let's go meet you at the swim meets and just as another layer so we can have beef. Because it's true. We need to make everything as dramatized as possible. Yeah, I don't like Will taking Carlton's girlfriend. I don't like Carlton being a crackhead. I just, there's a lot going on. I know that we have to make it dark because it's like edgy and new, but y'all doing some stuff that's out of line. And Lisa messing with Will. I mean, Lisa messing with Carlton before Will and then coming to the crib, kissing on and sleeping with Will in Carlton's house. All that is just OD. It's just too much.
And like Aunt Viv being okay with that, to me, like if someone was dating my brother, and then my cousin goes and tries to date living in my mom's house, my mom would have many words to say.
Yeah, you're not coming over here with that.
How are you going to come and date that's your cousin's ex? Like, oh no, just the whole thing about it. It's unrealistic to me, and it's just extra.
Especially knowing, I know Lisa been through a lot. She lost her mother. And her mother, I guess, was friends with Aunt Viv. However, everybody knows, they don't know Carlton on drugs, but they do know Carlton has an anxiety issues and he got emotional stuff going on. So I wouldn't sit there and watch this and let this happen in my house. I agree with that.
Not me in my house either. Yeah.
All right, we can go ahead and do A, B, C, D, E, F, G for the season.
Okay.
F.
You get it incomplete.
I will say this though. I did like the fact that you could clearly see someone decided that black actors, not light skinned black actors, but like dark skinned, black featured people were picked for this. I thought that was a really important decision. It wasn't just happenstance. I can tell from what I've seen.
I see that, but I feel like it's contrived. Like, let's make everybody dark skinned because dark skin's important. I guess.
Your light skin showing.
There's there's dark skin, like Jeffrey being dark, Aunt Viv can be dark, Ashley can be dark. They were mixed up. Like, they had light skin and dark skin people in their family. And I think it's okay to keep it like that because that's how real black families look.
But this was still mixed up now. Ashley was lighter now. I mean, I wouldn't consider all of them dark skinned.
But
some
they
of them
darkened
were more brown, some of them were dark.
They darkened several characters, and they ain't like nobody.
They did darken them, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like, Uncle Phil wasn't that brown before. Hillary wasn't that brown before. Carlton even gained an extra shade.
Because in the 90s, they wouldn't have been represented in Hollywood the same way. So I think it's okay that they darkened some of the characters. It's not like they made everyone midnight. Like, they made some darker, they made some the same.
But nobody got lighter, and light skin representation is important. I'll play He's light as lightness. I'll play devil's advocate now. And for the people listening to the podcast, literally everyone on the podcast is light. So Jay tried to act like he ain't, but he is. Misha, you don't even try it over there. So
I am not dark skinned. But I am not light.
Let me tell you that I cannot.
You light skinned.
I cannot.
No, that's the light.
Right now.
I cannot enjoy Atlanta because you look so much like Donald Glover. I just want to throw that out there. I be watching Atlanta like, there go Jay. Look at Jay. So if y'all want to know what Jay looked like, just Donald Glover with hair. If Donald Glover had hair down to his shoulders, that's Jay. All right, are y'all ready? Did I grade it? Misha, did you grade it?
No.
We just started talking about dark skinned people.
Graded it, didn't see it. Yeah.
We just went on a dark skin rant. Now I sound like Langston. All right, Misha, what do you grade it?
Okay, I'm gonna give it an A- because I'm excited for season 2. So, and for everything we've been talking about, Black representation on TV, the fact that I think that the first show is so impactful for the culture. So to bring this back so that our kids can watch it, I think is great. Even though my son can't watch this one, it's too adult for him. But the minus part of it, I would say I'm only giving it a minus because I do think that there is definitely growth, but it's not to say that I think that it makes it a bad season 1. I think that just like any first, whether it's a movie number 1, a season number 1, you're gonna have things that you need to work on and grow a bit. If they don't bring Jeffrey back, then I'm gonna have to knock it down even to
he's coming.
Like if they don't bring him back, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey did get fired, Jay, in case you was wondering. We didn't talk about Marlon. He got fired because he found Will's daddy. Will's daddy happened to be freaking Marlon Wayans, playing Ben Vereen's character. I don't think they should have brought Will's daddy into the first season. I feel like y'all doing a little too much too early. They made him worse, even though Will's original father was a hellion. This one's even worse. Like they're cussing each other out and calling each other Will calls his father the B word a few times. It gets real intense. I didn't necessarily like that level of intensity, but Marlon was okay, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna go get my ratings because the show getting long. I'm agree with the A-. I'm gonna say A- as well. I think it gets an A because it's very well done. There's a lot of thought goes into it. It's beautifully filmed. The house is nice. The characters that I like Hillary and Jazz, I love. Aunt Viv was great. Uncle Phil's still growing on me. Will and Carlton, I'm indifferent to. Only ones I don't like are basically Ashley and Lisa. And Ashley, it ain't even that I don't like her. I just think she's a little too mature. So yeah, A-. There's room to grow, but it is done well. So if more episodes come out, I will watch them. All right, so it's time to wrap it up. as always, I'm looking for new guests. Like I say this every episode, but I feel like y'all think I'm just saying it to be saying it. I swear we need more people to help us with this show. If you're listening, a lot of people just come to me out of the blue and be like, oh, I listened to your podcast. I'd be like, for real? Because when I ask for help, don't nobody say nothing. So if you're listening and you have opinions about things, join our Discord and you can be on the show. So I gotta just contact us on any of our social medias and like just DM or whatever, and I'll respond to the DM or Jay will respond to the DM, and we'll get you a link to join the Discord and just let us know you want to be on the show. That's pretty much the whole process, and that's it. Subscribe to us where you subscribe to things: iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podcast, Pocket Bean, Google Play, whatever. There's so many streaming services out there right now. I can't even keep track of them. So wherever you're listening, make sure you're subscribed. Follow us on Twitter at Black Nerdcast. That's Black Nerd CAST as in podcast. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Negro Justice League. Make sure you go to negrojusticeleague.com, especially click on shop, and there's some options to buy like t-shirts or whatever on there. Follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Black Nerdcast, Black Nerd CAST. I will say that we haven't been doing as much Twitch streaming lately. I've been moving around a lot, and so I have not been able to commit to an active ongoing stream, but somebody did introduce me to a new game coming out that I do want to stream. So maybe in the next few weeks, I might get a stream going of a particular game I want to play. And always rate and review us. That helps other people find us, especially on iTunes. Make sure you go in there and give us 5 stars. That helps us get the word out to other people that are looking for a show like this. Again, I want to say thank you to Misha for joining us. This is her first episode. She did awesome. And so we look forward to hearing from her again. And then next episode's agenda, we have Batman and Peacemaker on here. I know this episode was actually supposed to be Batman.
Superpower White Man Power Hour. Superpower White Man Power Hour.
Superpowered White Man Power Hour. We told y'all we was going to do Batman, but then I didn't realize how long it was going to take Batman to get to streaming services. And I didn't want to bootleg it. So we're actually waiting for it to come out legally. And I'm going to watch it, I guess. I don't want to watch it, bro. I don't want to see that. And I don't want to see Peacemaker. But Jay's making me do it. We need to actually get on the schedule. We need to get Atlanta on the schedule. We need to get the Dumbledore movie on the schedule.
Fantastic Beasts. That's what I'm saying.
We got a few things. Yeah. So we're going to work out a schedule. If you have opinions about what we should cover, reach out to us. Like join the Discord and say things. But that's it for this episode. I am Cherry, and this was the Negro Justice League.